We got 2 minutes.
Yeah, I've gone to a couple of these. They're worthwhile.
Yeah, same.
In 3 hours, they cover pretty much all that necessary. So, well, especially. Get a decent.
Well, it's, so the locations aren't too bad either.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, she just went around.
I can't.
Okay.
People here just
Somebody else.
but I will. It's like, wait for it.
Hey.
Nice to see you again.
Sit tight.
So,
It's 6 o'clock on the button.
Hi, we will come to order. Good afternoon, evening, everyone. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda, Mr. McConnell, roll call. Uh-oh. While you get that together, do we have an introduction, Peter?
We do. Thank you. So that was subtle, but I picked it up somehow. We have a new member of the planning commission. It's Bob, right? Not Robert. Bob Weldon, Robert Weldon, depending on how familiar you are with him, is here to join us. So we still have 1 vacancy. So as you've noticed, 2 people are missing tonight, Arnold and Jim. So they rolled off. I have something I'll share with you later about those 2. But so we have a new member tonight with Bob, and then we'll have one more vacancy that we're hoping to fill here soon. That I can elaborate on a little later in the meeting.
Thank you
Okay,
very much and welcome.
Yep, it's, I'm excited to be here.
we'll change that. Okay, now I think we're together, Madam Chair. Commissioner Weldon.
Present.
All right. Commissioner Woodbury.
Here.
Commissioner Meta.
Present.
Commissioner Helsinger.
Present.
Commissioner Kozinski.
Present.
Here. Proctor,
Present.
did I miss any?
Nope.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
we have a call.
Thank you. Next is approval of the agenda for today.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. Questions, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next, we have approval of the February 10th meeting minutes.
Move the minutes. Or
It's been moved and supported. Questions, concerns, additions, deletions? All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next on the agenda is correspondence, item A through E. Peter?
Yeah, so there are 5 letters in your meeting packet. We have not received anything since we published the packet. And typically, just so you know, typically if we would have done, if we would have received anything, we would have forwarded it to you via email and then brought hard copies tonight, but we did not. So what you see is what you get.
All right, thank you. Next item is old business, of which we have none. Public hearings, special land use permit, McConnell.
Yes, Madam Chair, we have special land use permit number PSLs 2025-0001. NWS Architect LLC. In the brands, convert attached garage to accessory dwelling unit, ADU, at 7312 Williamsburg Road.
Thank you. Peter, Hope.
Yep, so Hope's gonna handle this tonight and I'll jump in if she has any questions or any other points I want to make.
Good evening. We have a special land use permit application from NWS Architecture brought to us by Nick Schmidt, who is with us this evening. The special land use permit is on behalf of the property owners at 7312 Williamsburg Road. They would like to convert their attached garage that is already existing on their home into an accessory dwelling unit for Miss Whitaker's father to reside in. The home is currently zoned RB and it is approximately 2,190 square foot residence. Accessory dwelling units or ADUs are allowed in RB, RA, RC, AG1 and AG2 zoning districts, which this does meet that qualification. The zoning ordinance defines ADU as a dwelling unit attached to a principal dwelling which provides complete independent living facilities for one or more persons and includes permanent provisions for living, sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. Detached ADUs or accessory dwelling units are not allowed under our zoning ordinance. SLUPs do run with the land, just to make note of that for future reference. The ADU is approximately 394 square feet, which is approximately 13% of the 2,196 square feet, so which meets our our qualifications for an ADU. The SLUP standards of approval are listed in the report. And we didn't notice anything of concern for the regular standards of approval for a special land use permit. The ADU standards of approval for our zoning ordinance, the unit shall be a separate housing unit and shall not exceed 50% of the floor area of the principal residence. This ADU definitely is not that big. It is 394 square feet, which is the 13%. Only one accessory dwelling unit shall be permitted on each lot or parcel. And this is the one and the only for this parcel. The owners of the principal residence shall continue to occupy the principal residence. The applicant has indicated that the property owners will continue to reside in the home. So that meets the requirement. The accessory dwelling unit shall be occupied by not more than 3 persons. And they must be related to the primary residence by blood, marriage, adoption, or guardianship. And according to the applicant, the father of Miss Whitaker, one of the homeowners, will be residing in the ADU. All setbacks and lot coverage requirements for the district shall be met. It does meet that. The house is already existing, the garage is already existing, they're not adding on. Parking, one additional parking, off-street parking must be provided. And according to the applicant, the driveway can hold up to 6 cars. Anything else?
No, so those are the standards of approval in conjunction, so those will be used in conjunction with the typical SLUP criteria for to render a decision on this case. Do you want to go over the maps and the photos? I think that'd probably be prudent.
This is an aerial from, I believe this is the one from 2023 of the property. This is, the applicant did submit a permit to get a new garage built onto the property, a detached garage. As you can see, it is meets the setbacks, and also the lot coverage is not exceeded by the addition of this second detached garage. So that's what that's showing.
Yep, so this is it's not to impact your decision necessarily, but it's just to show you that there are plans to accommodate that, the parking from the garage and like storage in another unit on the property. Sorry. So these photos are from this morning.
Yep.
So Hope and I have been out to the site 3 or 4 times. And the property has been, if you saw, there were some pictures in your packet from earlier. We didn't have these yet. So there were a couple issues that have been since resolved. So there was a trailer in the driveway and the mailbox had fallen and they had a new one. So all that's been addressed. So we just wanted to show you that as of this morning, we're all good.
Yeah.
Our code guys had a code open on this. They closed it. The planning department closed ours. Related, we had one for parking. And since I've talked to the property owners, they understand restrictions on parking in the front yard or parking on the street. So I think we're all straight on that.
The applicants are here. The homeowners are here as well, if you have any questions for them.
Commissioners? Please.
As far as the open tickets that were pending resolution, how long were those in progress prior to the application being received?
The parking one was just recent. It just came on our radar. So was in the last 2 weeks. The other one was from there last year at some point. And we had a changeover in our code enforcement staff. So the guys at the time had not, or the previous staffer had not followed up. But once we got on the radar of our new guys, they went out and looked at it and were able to close it. So just within the last 2 years, I believe.
Any other questions from the commission?
I do, but I don't know if it's now or so. More just on questions on this process.
I would open the public hearing.
Yeah. Madam Chair, I move we open a public hearing.
Support. Been moved and supported. Public hearing is opened.
So good evening. My name's Nick Schmidt. I'm the architect on this Williamsburg Road project, and I'm here on behalf of my client, Miss Gabrielle Whitaker and Dwight Whitaker and William Cruz.
You need to add your address for the record.
My address is 104 Howell Street, Grand Ledge, Michigan. So this project scope includes renovation of existing residence, as has been mentioned, with the intent to renovate the attached garage into an ADU for Mrs. Gabrielle Whitaker's father, Dwight Whitaker. This ADU will give Mr. Whitaker a chance to live next to family and be a part of his grandchildren's lives each day while he stays in his own place. During this application process, the planning department has been very helpful and responsive, and we appreciate that. It's been noted the existing residence is at 2 open violations, and it sounds like they've been closed at this point. I also wanted to recognize that during this process, when violations were brought up, the client has been very open and ready to work to resolve these items, one being the mailbox issue. That's been resolved and taken care of, and also noted by Peter, the parking. So in closing, my client's doing their best to give Mr. Whitaker an independent place to live next to his family and his grandchildren. We ask that you keep that under consideration during this conversation tonight. Thank you for your consideration and time this evening.
Thank you.
It's still public
Like to
comment.
speak? Please state your name and address for the record.
My name's Chad Lee. I live at 7320 Williamsburg, right next door. And I just came out to say that I'm fully in support of all this, and let's do it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Chuck Cassidy. I live next door to Bill and Sue. And I just want to say I'd be glad to have someone near my age to live next door to me.
Anyone else? Please state your name and address for the record.
Name's Dwight Whitaker and my address is 7312 Williamsburg. And I'm the cause of this whole issue, so I thought I probably should say something. Just a little background. I'll be 73 in a week and a half, and I owned my own house until December. And we had been in, my daughter and Bill have been, we've been in talks about what my future might behold. And so we discussed the possibility of creating a space for me to live in where it wasn't required to go up and down steps and that. That was put on the back burner because it didn't seem like it was an imminent type of thing because my health was halfway decent. And but my youngest daughter was over in June and she says, Dad, the market's hot and you probably get the most you can for your house right now. And so I thought, yeah, that's probably a good idea. And so I proceeded to prepare my house to be sold and contacted Deanna to be my realtor. And we got the house sold in December. And I moved into the house with Gabrielle and Bill in the end of October. It was transitional. It took a little time to do that, but so in the process, we've been evaluating what needs to be done to proceed in doing this. And so we contacted a builder in October to take a look at the property and give us a quote on building a garage for us. We had a roof redone in February, March. And then we also had electrical work. We upgraded the existing breaker boxes. We added a breaker box. We've added a kind of a pigtail for future use for the garage when that's put in place. So those things are kind of behind the scenes. We've dealt with the violations and to tell you the truth, that mailbox, but it weighed about 250 pounds, at least, maybe 300 pounds. And we were puzzling over that since it's been knocked over. Somebody during the night knocked it over and just took off. And so we informed the post office, and so they proceeded to withhold our mail. So that's why the other box was put out. So that's kind of brings you up to date on what background is, what our intentions are, and I hope to be there for a while. And plus they have a blended family of 6, and their youngest is 3. So I'm sure after I'm gone, they'll probably be having some use for that space yet while there. So guess that's all I gotta say then. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak at this time?
Yeah, I just had one, go ahead.
Hello, I'm Deanna Powers, and they live in the house where I lived for over 20 years. I had a wonderful group daycare home there, and I guess to me, that location is just all about family. And I didn't meet Dwight's kids until later when they were looking for a house. I'd already sold the house to a lady who took over my daycare. And then when I met them and saw their kids, I'm like, oh, I have the perfect house for you. And then I helped Dwight, known him for a long time from church. But I just too fully support that this would happen for them. And yes, I still live in Delta Township. Address 1635 Pepper Hill Drive, Lansing 48917. So I just really like the idea of keeping our families together as much as possible. And they've got the absolute best best next door neighbors over there for support, Chuck and Sue.
Thank you. Anyone else? Commissioners?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I just had one quick question. The current garage has two separate doors. One? Okay, and that door opening presumably will be infilled with permanent and a standard entry door in there. Okay, so for conversion back to a garage at some point down the line, you need to redo the opening. Okay.
If you didn't see it already, there's a floor plan in their packet that shows how the spaces will be used. And how the conversion will work. So that's the new layout. So that's the garage converted. What we're seeing now.
Sure.
Yes.
I'm just curious about something. How many cars are owned by the current residents?
Currently, we have.
Oh, hold on, sorry. If you, any responses to the planning commission, if you could come up and speak from the podium and do the whole formal name. address thing.
William Cruz, I live at 7312 Williamsburg. So currently, right now, we have 4 vehicles, mine, hers, Dwight's, and then I have a 17-year-old daughter that drives as well. There was another truck on the property. I think there was a little confusion on thinking it was in disrepair and not running. It actually did run. I know there was some stuff that sent in about it being on grass, but as you can see in the previous picture with the aerial view, it's actually concrete, and that would be the pad that goes into the future garage. That vehicle has been removed and is no longer on property. So there'll be 4.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I am Gabrielle Whitaker. I live at 7312 Williamsburg Road, and I don't know exactly what I want to say, but to the concerns that were sent in, as you can see, parking is going to be fixed with the potential of a detached garage. We also have 6 kids ranging in age from 17 down to 3. And the concern of this turning into a rental unit is just not realistic to us at all. We do not feel comfortable renting out something that is attached to our home. And it is not something that I would be interested, even if we did not have children. As for us parking down on the grass, when we got the warning from the previous ordinance officer Kelly, Bill called and spoke to her, and she had told us that as long as the vehicles were in our driveway, then they would be okay. That is where the diesel truck was that was believed to be in disrepair on a concrete pad. Other than that, we have seen a lot of other vehicles parked in grass in our neighborhood. And so we were under the assumption that if the vehicle was registered and not in use, that it could be parked down there. And that was our big mistake. And we have fixed it since then. And we just play the round robin game so that everyone can park it in the driveway. I think that's it, but thank you.
Thank you. Question? Mr. Mayor? Okay, question.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Murphy.
In kind of a response, okay, lawn parking is one of my pet peeves, okay? In my training on planning, okay, lawn parking represents the first stage of urban decay, okay? And that's why there's an ordinance here, okay? I was concerned when I saw that you were going to use the garage as the living space, okay? And knowing what I have in my garage, I was concerned with where's all the stuff going to go? And my concern was that it was all going to be put in the driveway somewhere, Okay? Yeah. Please,
You can continue. I just wanted to be able to respond.
yeah. Because over the course of years, seen what we consider blight. Okay. And I kind of lead the charge sometimes on that. Okay. I like everything neat and pretty. Okay. And when I saw that you were going to put another garage there, as well, that's where all the stuff is gonna go. Yeah. But I do have a couple questions for staff. Okay. Now, when Dad no longer needs the,
Facilities.
we used to call that in-law.
In-law suites.
Yeah. And when you no longer need it, okay. I think there's some concern about it becoming an apartment rental. And what staff's answer to that?
So, I mean, I was gonna speak to that and the conditions related to this SLUP, but I'll do it now, because I think it's worth. So it's not, there's an imperfect system here. We can't know everything about all the different property owners at any given time. What we were able to do with the last SLUP for ADU that came along was I had drafted an affidavit that committed to the property owner. I mean, it's a piece of paper, it gets recorded with the deed, but it would alert future owners, buyers about the restrictions on the property. So it would go through the ADU, the specific ADU criteria. So only being family members, certain size, how it's used, number of occupants, that kind of thing. So, I mean, we would rely on the complaint, kind of like we do with other code enforcement. We'd rely on complaints or some kind of insights to learn more about the property. In my experience, you usually hear about it in some one form or the other. A neighbor would identify it. It's a pretty, everyone's close in that neighborhood. I don't know about friendly, but geographically close to each other. We would typically hear about that kind of thing. And so at that point, I mean, it's simply it's not allowed. The family could use the space. So if dad moves on, whatever happens to dad, the family can use the rest of the house. And without restriction, as long as it remains within accordance with our ordinance. So we've provided conditions that speak to that. What you're not seeing is this affidavit, but it's a very simple, just kind of restating of those criteria for the SLUP. And I have them sign it. We'll have it recorded as part of they'll work with me to get it recorded with the county.
And there's also the issue about making it into a bed and breakfast.
Yes, that is not permitted. There is no approval that would grant that right now in the township. So if that happens, we've dealt with short-term rentals in other ways that the township is working on an ordinance related to that, not prohibiting them, but we had developing some standards. But that being said, we do not allow bed and breakfast, commercial enterprises, or residential districts. It's not something that would be allowed either under current ordinance or what this new ordinance envisions. So you would I don't have anything that specifically says that but you'll just have to know that moving forward.
That's no problem. And I'd like just to add, also for the concerns of renting this out, I actually, once my dad moves on, I know, I'm sorry. I have 3 siblings that live out of state, and they would use that space to stay in when they come to Michigan to visit. They all have families, and it would work well for them to stay because they did used to stay at Dwight's house. So we no longer have that set for them. And then as for the contents of the garage is too small for our vehicles. We've never been able to park in there, unfortunately. And we have the garage almost cleared out completely and stuff stored in our attic and or basement.
Which to add was a part of the trailer that you saw in the driveway was, and I spoke to Peter about this when we had a conversation about it, was actually a dump trailer. It's not a traditional dumpster, like 20 yarder. It was Dwight knows guy has some trailers. If you look at some of the pictures, it even has like their markings on there, like the numbers and stuff. So that's where that trailer came in. We were getting our stuff out of the garage.
We had rented it for a week.
Yeah. And then on the property as well are two sheds that store, your lawn maintenance things and then kids' bikes and things like that. So the garage is pretty much empty at this point as well.
So with the timing of, excuse me, the timing of your initiative would be to build a new garage first, then remodel the old garage?
Yes.
And we do have a live application for the garage in our system right now.
That's what you said. right?
Yeah.
One other question I had, when we do our due diligence, looking over all the documents and pictures and everything, I said to Peter, I says, looks like there's a daycare. I says, does the owner have a daycare there? I says, I see multiple swing sets, swimming pools, and now we have an answer. It was a previous owner.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, my question is more on just procedure. With these, I know that we always do a special land use permit. When it's outside of the statutory zone where we can already place those. With that, the special land use is indefinite, is it not? Like it stays with the property?
Yeah, it stays with the property. Yeah, so if a new family moved in that wanted to do the same thing, they could do that without having to come back to this group. As long as they meet the standards of our ordinance.
So at one time, I know that we had discussed potentially looking at how to time these out, where it wouldn't necessarily be, forever and ever and ever. Has there been any discussion on future policy revisions to include some sort of a timeline for this? Like if the property sells or if, I don't know, just there's an end to it other than someone just saying, hey, I don't need this anymore.
Oh, well, it would definitely go, if it's not being used as an ADU, it would expire after 2 years, I think, of not being used. I thought it was state law that has the SLEP runs with the land. And that we don't have, I think none of them necessarily expire. So the same with the drive-through, I think that's in the state act, am I wrong? Yeah. So that they don't have timeframes associated with it. I would have to look into whether or not we could adjust our zoning ordinance to have expirations, but we do not have anything on this. It would either cease to exist and then just go away, or be used in perpetuity by a number of families that this is convenient for.
So on properties where this is approved, the special land use is in place, you said that there's a 2-year timeline, if it isn't used in that 2-year time, is that from designation start, or does that mean, at some point in the future, there's a 2-year?
I would have to somehow learn that the property's no longer being used for the purpose the SLEP was granted and start a shot clock of some type. It probably not particularly convenient to know. I'm not sure how that would work out, but.
Nope, understood. That's
Yeah.
totally fine. I just figured I would ask while we were going along because this seemed relevant.
Yeah.
So, but not for you guys, or just this section. All right, thank you.
And you started to make a motion.
I did. Motion to close the public hearing.
I support.
Been moved and supported. The public hearing is closed. Thank you.
We need to vote.
We didn't vote to open.
There's a motion second.
Okay. It's been moved and second that the public hearing be closed. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Commissioners.
Madam Chair, I'm prepared to make a motion. Finally.
Thank you.
But that's oxymoron. I'm not prepared. I haven't found it yet.
Page 13.
Okay. I move that the planning commission recommend to the Delta Township Board of Trustees approval of the special land use permit request from NWS Architect LLC to convert a 394 square foot attached garage into an accessory dwelling unit at 7312 Williamsburg Road, parcel number 040-049-500-00 as described in case PLS 2025-001 for the following reasons, of which there are three, with the following conditions of approval, of which there are seven.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Roll call vote.
It
should be a small. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we gotta go back. Okay. Okay. Commissioner, Meadow,
Support.
Commissioner Elfinger,
Support.
Commissioner Kozinski,
Support.
Commissioner McConnell supports. Commissioner Mudry,
Support.
Chair Hunt Proctor,
Support.
and our new Commissioner, Brother Wellwood.
Support.
Chair.
It is unanimous. All right,
We'll get
thank
this-
you, Peter.
So we appreciate working with you so far. There's still one more step. We've got to get this through the township board. So that will take place. Check your availability for the 21st, so next Monday, or otherwise we're looking at other dates. Hope's gonna be in touch with you tomorrow on where we go from here. But thank you for your cooperation. That's helped through this.
Thank you.
Again.
Good luck.
Yeah, exactly.
Same.
Yes.
Okay, all
Mhm.
You guys know. That's a major.
Yeah, that's a big accomplishment.
No, it's another.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing.
I saw it on the corner of my eye and I was like, just in
I
case.
know, I think so.
All right, next order of other business is item election of officers.
All right, it's been a year, just flew by.
Is it real?
We've got every year, first meeting in April. I've noticed every board and commission is a little bit different on timing, which can be challenging for our team. So this group needs a chair, vice chair, and a secretary. So right now we've got Marita as the chair, Doug as the vice chair, and Bob as our secretary. Like I said, every group's a little bit different. Planning commission bylaws say that everybody's eligible, but you can't serve more than two. Let's close these doors real quick.
I think we can close the door.
It's. You can leave that one open and shut
Yeah, one of
One
them
has to stay open,
for the Open Meetings Act.
Oh, really?
legit.
Yeah.
Like a literal open door?
Literal
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
Careful.
On a
Kristen will
note-
come in and challenge you for that.
Otherwise, it's a-
So you gotta go out there and shoot him.
Unlock, we take a literal.
How open it has to be, but it's open.
That works. It's open. Meeting it.
Okay, so, like I mentioned, the bylaws say that officers can't serve more than two successive terms. It doesn't say one specific officer, but officers in general. So that means Secretary McConnell will not be eligible to serve as a third term secretary. So, we'd be looking for a new slate of officers. And further complicating this, the township board at its meeting in March approved amendments to its appointment of boards and commissions policy, which included a provision. Now, I say in my memo, limiting board and commission officer terms to 1 year. It's actually just the chair term. So I'm not speaking for the board, but the conversation was that they wanted to see the groups rotate through the chairs to keep it from one person always being the chair. Yeah, it is, that was the
What you're
policy.
telling us is we need all new people right now.
That's so, because of both
Okay.
of those reasons, we're looking for a new slate of officers for this group. So,
Just clarify, and I think I know the answer. The person can't be in the same office, but they could occupy.
well, in this
Right.
case, you can't serve as a secretary because that would be your third consecutive term as secretary. You're limited to 2 terms in any one given role.
He could
Yeah.
do any
That's
of
not
the
what I
other
was
two.
asking.
Well, I'm getting there. Sorry.
Sorry.
Two-part answer. The board is saying that they want the chair to revolve, but so Doug could stay as the vice chair, because this is his first, he's only served 1 term now as vice chair.
Okay.
So he's eligible for a second term as vice chair, or could ascend to chair, or it could be secretary, but the 2 of you would be limited this time. One, because of your ineligibility for a 3rd term, and then the chair because of this new policy adopted by the board.
But
No, it's still.
you're saying I couldn't serve in any office?
No, you just can't be in your 3rd term as secretary, sorry.
That's the question I was.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe I'm being a little obtuse here. Wouldn't be the first time. But we're restricted from serving more than 2 successive terms. Okay,
In the-
that's clear.
In the
For your
state.
bylaws.
Then it further goes on per the township board that terms are 1 year.
And
No.
the clarity there is my memo is incorrect. I was informed after this memo that the direction from the board is only for the chair. They want to see the chair.
1
term.
year.
1 year,
not
1, yeah,
Eligible for a second.
right, one and
Got it.
done chairs.
Yeah.
Moving forward for every board and commission.
Just wanted to be sure.
2 vice, 2 secretary, 1 secretary, 1 vice.
Correct. Subject to change. The board,
Sure.
I've heard
Yep.
maybe the board will discuss this further and decide to change course. But as we are tonight, this is the way it is.
Okay.
So, Madam Chair, do we know if there's anybody who has interest in anything?
I would be willing to move up to chair. Everybody being willing.
How much you paying?
You get the same rate of pay that Maria gets.
That's right. Actually, I get a
$50
50% increase over here.
Whoa. Slow down.
Well, well, I would, it's a self-nomination. I would move that the nominations for chair be closed.
Support.
Congratulations.
I think.
Do we have to?
We have to vote on the motion though.
Oh,
Yeah.
for all together, you're right. I'm sorry.
Generally, we do them all
Yep.
at the same time. So, yeah. All right.
Call for the vote.
Oh, okay. I thought we were gonna vote at this all.
Oh, don't we do all of them at the same time or do we one by one?
Certainly, we've done them all at the same time.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
So good.
That's one
It's
position.
been moved and. Are we doing them all at one or separate?
Just one at a time.
Okay.
We had a motion, we have had support, so now we need, these are
Mr.
voice votes.
We
Kozinski,
need a voice vote
Yep.
on
for Mr.
approval to
Kozinski.
close the nominations.
Okay, all those in favor of closing the nomination, say aye.
I
Opposed? The ayes have it. This is so different.
Okay. I know we got-
What if nobody votes?
So now we have to vote, we have to vote for.
For chair.
Do all
One the
together.
others, right?
So vice chair,
Anybody interested? Vice chair.
I'll move down to vice chair if no one wants to do it,
That's
if that's allowable,
allowable.
there's a motion on the table.
unless someone
Does
wants.
anybody else have? wanna
Anyone
entertain
else
it?
want
I
it?
would nominate Brenda as vice chair.
Support.
It's been.
Moved and supported.
And
Supported,
supported.
yeah.
This is so strange how you all do things. It's been moved and supported. For vice chair
For the nominations be closed.
and
Yep.
move that the nominations be closed. Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Ayes have. Now we need nomination for secretary.
Tough.
But he step up this wonderful job, secretary.
Not it.
I don't want to do it.
Well, to get the ball rolling, I would nominate Mark Woodard as secretary.
And I would decline.
Okay.
You don't
Got
wanna
too
do it
much on
either.
my
Hey,
plate.
hey, Rob.
Yeah, you want a new job?
You want a new job? Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd rather settle in a little bit before I took one on responsibility with him, but.
But I didn't hear no.
You gotta be
I'd
specific.
rather settle in a little bit.
Let's look down to this end of the table. It's getting narrowed down.
I know, I already.
It's, but having done that, and as some of you have, it didn't really take a lot of extra time, Mr. Moultrie, because we're here anyway for the meeting.
No, I'm not sure about you, so I'll speak for myself. My job is a lot right now, so my worry is, can I make every meeting or not?
Sure.
And I want to be respectful of that role and the
Sure.
commitment.
But I was just addressing Mr. Moody, who's trying to get out by
I
saying
know.
it's extra work. You
That's
either here or you ain't.
Yeah, secretary no longer does the minutes.
No, we don't.
Another recorded.
We'll be, yeah, depending on who gets nominated, we may change that. I'm not sure. Minutes. No, we have Sarah here to do minutes for the commission, so,
Thank you, sir.
and we can provide whatever support you might need.
Yes, thank you.
Mhm.
It's like,
We're all looking
What
at,
the hell's everybody looking at me?
we're looking at Mr. Moody.
It's
also Miss Bradley.
Oh, yeah, she's not here to argue. Miss Bradley's not here to argue.
Wow.
What did LBJ say? If nominated, I will not.
If elected, I will not serve.
If elected, I will not serve.
Well, can we leave that position open until
I
perhaps
don't know that we
this?
can.
So we're missing Miss Bradley,
I will,
Oh, yeah. Bradley.
and then we have a vacant position that will hopefully be filled soon.
So Mr. Weldon, are you saying that you
if
want
someone
assistance?
so magnanimous as to.
You have access to the world's finest trainer, so.
Yeah, you got all kinds of help.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'll go.
All right. It's been moved by Mr. Kozinski. Is there support? Support. Ms. Elzinger.
Move to close nominations.
It's been moved to close the nominations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Congrats to the new office holders.
Hooray.
So you'll be good for another year, at which time we'll deal with this again. There may be different policy at that point. The other thing that we're looking for tonight is appointment of to the zoning board of appeals. So Mr. McConnell has served in that role for a while, and there is no limit on term for the zoning board of appeals rep.
I would like to continue.
I nominate, can I take nominations now, or how does that work?
That same thing, yep. You would
But
take,
if
you would take
somebody else
nominations
does-
this year.
Support, if you nominate, I'll support.
I nominate Mr. Bob McConnell.
Voice vote as well.
Nomination is for Bob McConnell for zoning board of appeals. All those in favor?
Aye.
That was quick. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
The parliamentarian is not an elected office, but I'll be willing to do it.
We appreciate
I don't
that.
think it's like that.
It's not, no, and I removed parliamentarian because it is not something that's listed specifically in your bylaws. I think it's more customary that this group has identified one among your members to be parliamentarian, so it could be a group effort, or it could be kind of just your go-to person, but you don't need to officially
Okay.
recognize anyone.
But can we note in the minutes that Bob said he will serve in that role?
Absolutely.
He just said it was a group effort.
And I just said we're gonna note it in the minutes. that you accepted. Exactly. And we could put in the minutes, Bob said. Okay, anything else regarding the elections?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. Next is the 2025 master plan update.
Yeah, so I'm pleased to tell you, we are on the road to the master plan. It's a long road that leads to the end of the year, but we're there. I mean, that's great. So we have OHM advisors on as a consultant, and the reason, and forgive me if I went through this before, but I'll make it quick. The reason that we selected OHM advisors, they have a specific knowledge of the township's utility systems. So we utilize them specifically in the engineering and utilities departments for a number of different contracts related to our public infrastructure. And as mentioned here before, one of the main drivers of our master plan is this focus on infrastructure and utility capacity, specifically to if the township were to grow, or if we're identifying areas in the community where there might be opportunities for that. For example, can the West Saginaw Highway Corridor, let's just, 2 miles down from here, could we build 4 50-unit apartment buildings based on sewer capacity? That's really a major limiting factor in the township's infrastructure. So we don't know the answer to that question right now, but this master plan is gonna help us get there. So I think it's gonna shed some light on if the community can grow, where it could grow, where it might make sense to look at different zoning categories and everything out of that. But it's more of a kind of a needs-based, reality-based thing that we really kind of dealing with this very real struggle that we have on utility capacity. And the master plan ultimately is going to be able to kind of draw that picture of where these areas are, identify what the roadblocks are for, like, for example, the Carrier Creek. In our lifetimes, we are probably not going to see a significant investment in the Carrier Creek because it's $100 million to redo the Carrier Creek to improve its capacity and all of that. So knowing that kind of and working backwards, that is really going to help us hone in on the areas of the community that could be something different. And again, that's not a political statement, that's more of the potential. So that decision will be made by others, but we're trying to get all the information. Long story short, things are going very well. We're having the steering committee is the planning team. We've got the advisor team, Aaron Lapierre, who is the deputy township manager. Jay Kleinhans is the township engineer. Rick Kane is the township's utilities director. And we have 3 members of the commission, Doug, Moretta, and Rachel. Sorry, looking right at you. So that's your steering committee, and the steering committee, it's really, we're reviewing plans, and we haven't done a lot yet. But we're reviewing plans, we're gonna be looking at maps, really reviewing drafts of the documents as they come along. So there will be some times where there's quite a bit of work for the steering committee to do, but that's where we're at. The next committee, we've had 1 committee meeting so far. It was really kind of just get to know you. Here's the plan in general. But we'll really hit the road here on May 14th is the 2nd steering committee. So I think there's 7 steering committees planned. There's a lot of public engagement planned that I don't have answers to yet. We'll talk a little bit about it on the May 14th meeting and then again in June. And at some point, there will be focus groups, online survey, big public meetings, probably in this room or maybe somewhere else. So there's gonna be a lot of opportunity to engage with the public and get feedback on all kinds of things. Anyone have any questions about the master plan, the process, anything, how we got here, or the road ahead?
Questions? You probably said it before. We're working with a consultant, is that right?
OHM advisors.
Okay. The other questions, what is our timeline?
So there are kind of 2 things gonna be happening with the master plan in terms of timing. One is the responsiveness to the grant from MISTA that the township received that's gonna cover $50,000 of the consultant fee. And so that has to be done by, I think, early January at the latest. And what I have learned working with MISTA is the whole master plan doesn't have to be adopted, signed, sealed for us to get the money. That's why I'm probably most concerned. I want to work on the master plan and get it done, but they will accept chapters responsive to the housing component as having addressed this. So if we can expend those dollars on specifically on the housing utility stuff that I told them we were gonna spend it on by their deadline, then they're good with that. And then if we need a little more time, which I'm assuming we will, to get the rest of the plan kind of fully accepted by the community, approved by the board, that kind of thing. So that buys us a little more time, depending on how things are running. So by the end of the year is the ideal.
Peter, I'm sorry. To clarify, Misha's comfortable with just draft versions of the housing and utility component.
They are.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, great, thank you. That's
Yep.
good.
Any questions? There being none, project.
Okay, I'll just run through a couple things. Because I know we're getting close to the hour here. So a couple things I wanted to mention, in your professional roles or maybe in your personal lives, I'm sure you've heard a lot about the bank drain project. If you run into anyone that's asking you about it, I mean, you have your own comfort level with that kind of thing. Feel free to punt those to me or refer them to the bankdrain.org website. That's the place they need to go. No politics here. This is not a township project. Township is definitely involved in a way, but we aren't not the information. We're not the resource for people. So if they have specific questions, try to steer them to bankdrain.org where they can reach out to someone from the project team. Or if they need to talk to me, I can also kind of make that reference. So just as FYI. Township continues to work on short-term rentals. So I presented a draft to the board a couple meetings ago. It was tabled for a short time. We actually got I'm really proud of this actually, got on the attention of Airbnb corporate. So they reached out and wanted to talk to us about the draft. The draft ordinance does not propose to eliminate short-term rentals. Unlike some other communities, we don't have a pressing issue necessarily with short-term rentals. But what we didn't have in the ordinance is teeth really for revocation. If there were issues with it. So it's really hard to remove a rental license from a property. It's got to be code related things. So what we run into is if we have, I'll say performance or behavioral issues at Airbnb, which is the specific issue that we had, issues with neighbors, bad management of the property. This would give us some teeth to remove a license specifically for a short-term rental. So we're actually meeting with the corporate Airbnb lobbyist on Friday, and then I plan on having it on Monday's agenda for Monday's Township Board agenda for introduction. So that's just kind of something that's happening in the community here. Bass Pro Shops, a lot of excitement about the big Bass Pro Shops project is not yet through the site plan review portion of the review. So you saw it, but it's still not through us. The big issues from the planning team, from the township in general, is conversion of Marketplace Boulevard to a county road. That is still not done, and we are years down the road on that. And then also the turnover of utilities still from phase 1 and phase 2 to the township. So this development is operating with private utilities and private roads. That is not going to work. So we have done a lot of work to try to corral everybody into getting all this stuff done, hoping that's going to come together here in the next month so that they can break ground and get this project up and moving. So that's that. If you hear questions or not, that's the right from the source answer. We, as of now, are not sure if we're gonna have a site plan ready for the 28th. I don't think but we may or may not. So I will apprise you of that as soon as we know. We're working with an applicant right now. But otherwise, we don't have any public hearings scheduled for the meeting on the 28th, of the next planning commission meeting. So just keep an eye on your inboxes and I'll get you a notice of that as soon as I know. As noted earlier, we have Mr. Weldon on board, so appreciate his willingness to serve on the planning commission. But that with the, I'll say removal, it was not a removal, with the retirement of Jim and Arnold, we do still have one vacancy. So I'm working with Supervisor Brewer on filling that vacancy. We do have some applicants. And the new process of the township is we do kind of just quick interviews with the supervisor and with a couple members of the township board, and then she'll put forth her nominations at the next board meeting. So we may have somebody sooner than later. I will let you know as soon as that gets resolved. And then if you were or weren't able to log in to the board meeting last Monday, both Jim Schweitzer and Arnold Leinfeld were recognized by the board. And I thought we're really appreciative of it. So they got the proclamation from the township board. And it was just really sweet. So Jim had been on the planning commission since 1999, we discovered. I graduated high school in 98. It was great to see someone that's the longest tenured person I've ever worked with, certainly, but so yeah, they were able to get recognized and seemed to really appreciate it. And so they moved on to different endeavors, although Arnold did kind of threaten or warn us that he'll be back at some point here.
On the other side of
On the other side of, yeah, standing at the podium, so we'll see him again. The last thing is, I didn't hand out my project updates today because I just kind of got away from me. I had another meeting today, but the Lansing Mall's under new management, which is great. So Summit Properties took over the Lansing Mall. They have not sold, but it's under new management, and with that has come a lot of new faces, including a new manager. So we're very happy to hear that. Nothing against the old manager, but we're so far so good with the new manager. And they've already signed 3 new tenants at the mall and have an eye on trying to make the mall viable for national tenants again. And being open to anything and anything on the property. So that's great. So there's a new wrestling training facility at the mall. This is like college, high school, prep kind of thing. And then a new retailer, Clio, that's like a retail apparel kind of stuff. Reach Athletics is a new dance and cheer studio. So I've seen that, like, well, I worked in Meridian Township for a long time before this, and I've seen some of the diversification these malls have done into more like space, active space tenants. So it was really cool to see Reach land at the mall. And if you saw former Zaytoon building, Sultan's West did open this week, so Sultan's is open now in former Zaytoon building. Anna's house is still supposed to be coming to Delta over here in a shopping center, the PFCU shopping center on West Saginaw. So I just haven't heard when that's gonna happen.
Do you know what the delay with the Anna's house has been? Cause
I can tell you after the meeting.
That way for.
Yeah, we can talk about it offline. I can give
Okay.
you some insights
That's
into
fine.
that, but they're not here now.
No, that's fine.
Horrocks continues to do all kinds of stuff. We're gonna see food trucks over there this summer. They're renovating their coffee and sales area. That bathroom project is almost done. So a lot of big things over there. And then I think that's it for now. So we've got a lot of active projects. I counted 30 sites under construction in the township. A couple 100,000 square feet of industrial space coming online in the next year. So we are busy. Not every project, the way our ordinance is set up, not every project comes to this group. So there are still other things that are happening. I've had some admin approvals. But yeah, we're busy. It's going really well. Any questions about projects or township updates, things you might want to know, just being around town? Just reach out if you think of something.
Questions?
I just want to make a comment. I wanted to thank Peter for putting the resolutions together for the 2 leading commissioners. The program was well done. Appreciate it.
That was a team effort, so everybody was involved with that. We were Googling Jim Schweitzer to try to figure out what he's been doing. So Dave found a lot of the stuff, and we reached out to this group. I think Dave reached out to the library. So yeah, it was definitely a team effort. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is public comments, of which there are. Planning director's comments. You have additional comments?
No, they're not. No other comments. No, thank you.
Planning commissioner comments.
Motion to adjourn.
So it's been moved.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned. Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter.